first. Okay, I haven't played this soundbite in a while, but I think it's more than warranted today. How do you feel, Hall of Fame head coach Jimmy Johnson?
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, that was impressive. Dallas Cowboys 2-0, 30-10 win over the New York Jets on Sunday afternoon in Big D, the home opener at Jerry World. Dallas looked good. Dallas' defense once again put on a clinic. In this case, not quite as surprising, given what they obviously did to the Giants last week. I'll give a little reaction to the Giants later in the show, but took care of the business, get the Giants last week. Listen, they're playing a backup quarterback as Zach Wilson, a backup who I think is more like a third stringer. I've made the argument that Mike Greenberg, who's a big New York Jets fan, said on ESPN today that Zach Wilson's probably not really an NFL quarterback. And I don't want to be mean to the kid because he seemed like he's really matured, and props to him. He's not an NFL quarterback. Dallas took advantage. They picked him off 3 times. Micah Parsons was absolutely everywhere once again. I don't think it is nuts to say, and I'm dead serious, that not only is Micah Parsons, and by the way, I picked TJ Watt to win Defensive Player of the Year before the season. By the way, we're only in week 2. We got a lot of football left to play. I said TJ would break Strahan's sack record. He's more than on his way to do that. But I think Micah Parsons today is not just the front runner to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's not nuts to say he's in the MVP discussion. And I'm dead serious. What he's doing for that Cowboys defense is incredible. And I'll get to sort of Dallas's outlook on the season because a lot of folks are debating who's better, Dallas, San Francisco. I'll sort of touch on that briefly at the end of the segment. What caught me, I shouldn't say caught me off guard. What I thought was most impressive about Dallas's win, I expected their defense to be good. Given what they did last week, given the personnel that they've got arguably a top 2 defense in the NFL. It's probably between them and the Niners, in all honesty, at number 1. I expect them to do this to Zach Wilson. I mean, I did. Listen, Buffalo's not as good as Dallas, and they mostly shut Zach Wilson down. They did. It's just Josh Allen gave the football game away. And speaking of which, a lot of folks are saying, oh, you're crazy for putting Dak Prescott for Josh Allen. Am I? Oh, because a defense that picked off Josh Allen 4 times, forced him to fumble twice. One of them they didn't call. The other they did, and it cost the Bills 3 points. Dak Prescott against that exact same defense. Quinnen Williams is there, and Sauce Gardner is there, and DJ Reed is there. And listen, I'm not gonna do the big belting version of this, but just say it with me. You guys know the drill. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, you know his name. What is Dak Prescott's government name? Rain Dakota Prescott completed 82% of his passes for 255 yards, a couple tutties, no turnovers. More on that later. A passer rating of 112 and a QBR 0-100 of 87. This against one of the best defenses in football. This against a defense that Josh Allen struggled mightily against. But this isn't about Josh Allen. This is about Dak Prescott, and this is about the Dallas Cowboys offense. And part of the reason I had Dallas getting to the Super Bowl this year, not winning it, but getting there, is the fact that when you have such a substantial change at offensive coordinator, move on from Kellen Moore, you decide to go with Mike McCarthy calling the plays for the first time since he was the head coach back in Green Bay, you now have a situation in which he's going to play to Dak Prescott's strengths. Kellen Moore was focused on, let's score a lot of points, let's make the stats look pretty, let's make the plays look pretty. Problem is, if it doesn't, it's a disaster. Mike McCarthy's like, why would I want to make it harder on Dak Prescott? While Dak is a top 10 quarterback, I think undeniably, he's not Mahomes. He's not, I don't think this is that much of a gap here, but he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Lawrence or Jalen Hurts. He's an elite quarterback, a top 10 guy. But his talent is not going to blow you out of the water. What Dak Prescott is able to do is, if you put him in position to succeed, you put him in position to where, is he capable of making the tough throws? Yes, and he made plenty of those yesterday. But let's free up CeeDee Lamb. Allow him to make plays with some of the tight ends they used down in the red zone. Let's put him in a position where he's not having to make tough throws. Why should we make it harder on our quarterback? The whole point of coaching is to make it easier for your players. That's why what San Francisco's doing, again, more on them later in the show, is remarkable. I mean, all these players, and it looks easy almost in San Francisco. Mike McCarthy, in a sense, is kind of doing the same thing with Dak. They got the running game going, offensive line, which was a little bit of a concern of mine coming into this season, dominated the Jets up front, particularly Zach Martin against Quinnen Williams. Listen, Quinnen Williams is an elite football player. Zach Martin got the best of him yesterday. He was outstanding. And props to Jerry for paying him just a couple weeks before the season started. But receivers were getting open. Offense was crisp. Again, they made it look easy against the Jets. This isn't, you could make the argument last week against the Giants like, the Giants defense is kind of middle of the road. We saw them really struggle yesterday against Arizona in the first half. Dallas kind of played conservative. They were playing conservative. They had Dak Prescott throw the ball 38 times. As a matter of fact, wasn't that weird stat like, if Dak throws over 30 times, you're almost assuredly going to lose. And they won by 20. Anyways, the offense looked easier for Dak. The offense looked crisper. The running game was good. And something that I loved about, and I think it might have been Ryan Flowers. We have a Grid group chat. Again, Grid Celebration Week. It might have been Ryan Flowers, host of Clutch Sports Talk. If not, correct me if I'm wrong, to my Grid teammates. But Ryan was saying, what's great about Mike McCarthy is that he sticks to the run. He's not going to overly rely on the run because that's not going to win you football games the highest level. But if it's maybe not working great, he's going to stick to it. Now, if it's not working at all, he's going to abandon it, of course, we assume in the future. But establish a run game. Don't put yourself in 2nd and 10 situations like Kellen Moore did to Justin Herbert yesterday in overtime. Make things easier for Dak. Make it harder. Even Andy Reid, he's not asking Mahomes to be Superman every single play. He's developing high percentage completions, in order to get the offense in a rhythm, get the receivers going, get Mahomes going, build the confidence there. And then every now and then Mahomes will make a play that defies logic. Of course, Dak Prescott, once again, is no Patrick Mahomes. But it's that same sort of ideology and philosophy that Mike McCarthy is instituting for this Cowboys offense. That was my biggest takeaway. Again, the Cowboys defense was supposed to be good. And aside from one big play to Garrett Wilson, it was incredible. Again, 3 turnovers. Micah was everywhere. Jets never really got that much of a running game going, in part because they never committed to the run with Breece Hall. You can blame Nathaniel Hackett for a lot of all that. But Dallas going up and down the field. I had Dallas scoring 34. Again, they scored 30 in the game. I thought it was going to be in large part, you'd have a defensive touchdown. You'd have a bunch of turnovers, put Dallas in a situation where it's like they're in the red zone. They don't have to go very far. No, Dallas is going up and down the field. If you look at Dallas's touchdown drives, again, first drive of the game went 75 yards, touchdown. Later on, they had a 14-play, 78-yard drive. Took about 6.5 minutes off the clock. That was a touchdown toward the end of the half. They had a 12-play drive that went 55 yards. Got a field goal. Now they got off a fumble. They took they got a field goal out of that. But a 12-play, 71-yard drive. Another field goal. Like Dallas is going up and down the field against not very good, an elite defense with elite players and personnel. So that was, I heard a lot of last week, and I said all of last week when there was this, Dak didn't look great, and completion percentage isn't good, and they're not generating a whole lot of big plays. And my takeaway was, why do they have to? They played the Giants. Defense got him a touchdown off a turnover. Special teams created a touchdown off of a blocked kick. Why should Dallas? And this was the difference between Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore's like, if you're up 26-0, hey, let's take multiple bomb shots down the field. Let's make Dak make contested throws where maybe one gets picked and the team gets some momentum and gets back in the game. McCarthy's like, guys, the only way we blow this is if we screw ourselves over. There's no need to do that. And so what I saw from Dallas yesterday offensively, very impressive in my view. And here's the thing for the Cowboys. So there is a debate about who's the best in the NFC. Is it Dallas? Is it San Francisco? I think San Francisco is the better roster. I've said all offseason and even last season, I literally don't know where their weakness is. I don't think Dallas necessarily has a weakness, but they're not near as good at tight end as San Francisco. That goes without saying. But they're better at quarterback. And I love Purdy, but they're better at quarterback than San Francisco is. But I don't know what the Niners' weakness is in the roster. The beauty of it is, week 5, these two teams play even better. I don't think either team is going to get tested the next 2 weeks. If you look at Dallas's upcoming schedule, they got at the Cardinals against my man, it's Joshua Space Dobbs, who looks good, ladies and gentlemen. But you got on the road against Arizona, Dallas going to win that game. They got home against Mac Jones, the Patriots, Dallas going to win that game. That goes without saying. On the other hand, for San Francisco, you look at their upcoming schedule. You got the Giants in a short week. Giants are going to have Saquon. Niners going to win that. And then the Niners got the Cardinals. They'll win that one as well. So both teams are going to go into this football game in week 5, 4-0, Sunday Night Football, standalone game, and we get to decide who the better team is. Today, I give San Francisco the slight edge simply due to track record, simply due to the fact that they have beaten Dallas the last 2 years in the playoffs, and they've looked impressive in both of their wins. Not to say Dallas has it, but I think the level of competition San Francisco's played is better than Dallas. Now, Dallas can only play who's on their schedule, of course. But that's the only reason I put the Niners slightly above the Cowboys. The beauty of it is Dallas can prove me wrong. Dallas can put themselves in a position to be 5-0. But if both teams do what they're supposed to the next couple weeks, that's 2 4-0 teams, probably the best 2 teams in football by that point. Although, as I'll get into in my second segment, Miami's making a pretty darn strong case that they're in that discussion as well as the best team in football. But what Dallas is doing, I'm seeing a lot of people, it's the Jets, it's the Giants. How many teams over the last couple of weeks have we seen play lesser competition and look, not great? I mean, listen, Philly played the Patriots and barely escaped with the win. So, let's put that in perspective as well. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.